Is this a Tuesday or Wednesday? This is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It was a weird week with a holiday on Monday. If you can be on camera, please be on camera. It's always more fun to look at faces, even if some of you aren't smiling. I still rather see faces than black screens. Um, if you haven't, hey, put in the chat where you're joining us from, what city you're in. I'm not going to type because my computer's sitting up on a precarious balancing box, but I'm in Whitefish, Montana right now. All right, we'll just give a couple minutes or another 1 minute. Appreciate everyone that's here being on time. All right, this is going to be, as usual, a great panel. This is our monthly partner webinar. We do these for all our teams that we partner with, about 240, 250 teams. And this is to help everyone succeed at a higher level than they are. We send out our monthly leaderboard that you all get to see. As you know, our top teams are converting in the 5 to 8% range, our good teams in the 3 to 5% range. If you're converting less than that, then we want to help you get into that range. And what we'll be sharing on this call will certainly be part of that. So let me share my screen. All right. Okay, so I want to start off before we introduce the panel and get into the important stuff about what's being said, what's being done to succeed. I want to just share some of this. Some of this will be um, a reminder to you. Some of this will be new information. Some of this will be stuff that you recently heard, but everyone can hear it more than once. Uh, Showing homes. All right, why do we talk about showing homes? Getting an appointment on that initial call is the number one key to success. The agents that get an appointment on that initial call, and that appointment happens within the first 14 days, are converting 5 times higher than the agents that don't. So if an agent says, hey, when would you like to see the property? Which we don't recommend asking that question, but if they say that and the seller says, or the buyer says, I'd like to see it tomorrow at 2, and the agent says, okay, let me call and see if the seller's available and I'll call you back. That's not setting an appointment. That's having a conversation about potentially setting an appointment. Right? Setting an appointment is, Jenna, when would you like to see the property? Thursday or Friday? Friday, great. Would you like to see it at 10 or 2? 2 o'clock, perfect. I will meet you at the property at 2 o'clock. Here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to send you my contact information. I'm going to call the seller to confirm that Friday at 2 o'clock works, and then I'm going to call you back, right? So that's a hard appointment, specific date and time. The agents that do that and meet with that consumer. Now, whether it's at the property, whether it's in your office, whether it's at a Starbucks, they do that in the first 14 days. They're converting 5 times higher than the agents that don't. How do we know that? We record all the calls and we listen to them and we get to see what happens. So the importance of setting that appointment. When you accept a warm transfer, I, now everyone may be saying to themselves, well, of course I want to accept a warm transfer. We understand that, but not everyone does. The agents that do accept the warm transfers are converting 2.5 times higher than the ones that don't. So we still see examples, unfortunately, of agents, probably no one on this webinar, but we see some examples of agents that are cherry picking, right? They'll see a property, um, it might be a lower priced property or in an area that they don't like or whatever, and they don't accept that warm transfer. Well, here's what happens, folks. The property they inquire about may have no connection to what they ultimately are doing, whether they're buying, selling, or anything else, right? They it has no reflection on their ability, whether they're what they're able to do. And we see examples of this all the time. We see property consumers that come in at a certain price and end up at a completely different price, come in a certain area, end up in a completely different area, right? We've all had that happen. So don't cherry pick, accept the live transfers. It'll give you the best chance of having the highest conversion rate. Um, The metrics that we look at, the agents that are winning on the teams that are winning the bulk of the introductions are responding in less than 60 seconds, in many cases less than 30 seconds. They are updating us 100% of the time, anytime there's a change in the status of that consumer. So they set a listing appointment, or they listed their home, or they put an offer in, and then doing that a minimum of once a month. Showing homes rate, that means of all the people they're introduced to, that 1 out of 5 they are able to meet and show homes to. Um, and then conversion rate, as I mentioned, 3 to 5% is where our good teams are. 5 to 8 is where some of the great teams are. Some of you that are on the call here. The 3 questions we always ask. So when you come onto the line, we've always have asked 3 questions prior to you coming on the line. All right. And that is, are they looking to buy or rent? So if they say they want to tour a property, we verify that they're looking to buy and not rent. And if they're looking to rent, we're not going to connect them. Now, there are the occasional consumer that is open to either, right? They want to buy, but if they don't find something, they're going to have to rent something. Um, but we want to get those in your hands because we know great agents are going to find them something. We ask them if they're under a exclusive contract with another agent. If they are, we don't introduce those. And then if they are looking to buy, we ask them if they have a home to sell. Or if they're looking to sell, we ask them if they're also looking to buy a home. And if that's in your area, we're going to tell you, hey, this consumer wants to see the property at 123 Anywhere Street, and they also have a home to sell in your area. Or these people are interested in getting a cash offer on their home, or they're interested in selling their home, and they will be a buyer, right? So we'll let you know that. If it's not in your area, we're not going to let you know that. We're going to let one of the teams in the area where they're you looking to do the other transaction know about them. The 5 key things that we hear all the top teams and agents do when they come on that initial call, they are energetic. They have a big smile on their face. They find out why the person inquired about that property, or what caught their eye, or what interested them, so that when they call them back, if the property is pending or sold, they can say, hey, bad news, the property we're going to see Friday at 2 o'clock is under contract. Good news is I found 2 others that fit what you said you were looking for, or fit or similar to the one that you said you liked. On that initial call, they are booking a hard appointment, and then they're letting the consumer know what's going to happen next. So that's a quick overview, reminder of the things that we want all our teams focused on. If you have any questions, in fact, if you have any questions this whole time, please put them in chat, and put them um, in chat or in the Q&A, and be happy to answer those. So I can't see the chat. Jenna, are there any questions in the chat?
No questions at this point, so we're good to move.
Okay.
Chris, I'll pin everyone.
Okay. All right. So I want to bring on our panelists. This is our team, one of our newer but really great producing teams from Alabama. Brent is the team leader. We have 2 of the agents, Taylor and Eric. Let me stop sharing. Stop sharing. Let me try to speak English. And all right, there we go. All right. Hey guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
And
having us.
Eric, thanks for changing your whole scenario there from when I saw you
No
a few minutes
problem.
ago. All right, so hey, we appreciate you guys allowing us to put you on the spot, ask you questions. Everyone's here to learn, and everyone has experiencing the same stuff. So I'll start, Brent, I'll start with you. What's the general philosophy that you know talk to your agents about when it comes to these type of leads, internet leads, the initial calls? What do you focus on?
Just try to be, I'm a big realist. So, I mean, I understand the whole philosophy behind it. You've really got to just treat everybody with respect on these. The conversion rates, you've got that between 3 and 10%. I was on a high producing Zillow Flex team for a while whenever I started my real estate career full time. People say that there are bad leads. Well, I mean, you're really just bad on the follow up, and in my perspective. But I try to be. You try to set the standard. You try to set the tone. You try to be respectful. I mean, all these people just want you to. They want to know how you can help them. So that's the biggest thing is you've got to be open minded and figure out what you've got to help them with. that's the reason why they're there. They don't know what they're doing. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you made me think of this. So, this consumer was online. They were on our site, movoto.com. They were looking at properties. Something caught their eye. They clicked on a button specifically that said, "Hey, I want to see this home," or "I want to talk to an agent." We then called, well, before that, they gave us their information. Then we called them. They accepted our call, answered the phone. And then we asked them, would you like to be connected to a top agent or team that could help you with that property or others like that? And they say yes. So then when we come on the line, to your point, you want to give them what they want, right? If they want to see the home, set an appointment for them to go see the home. Um, what's your thoughts? And then we'll get to Taylor and Eric and ask this question too. What's your thoughts on um, the importance of that first appointment? How do you view that?
To me, again, you're setting the standard. You have to go with the tonality of how they connect through. You can't be sitting on the couch, laying down and talking. You have to be energized. You got to know, let them know, like, hey, I'm here to help you. What would you like? Connect, set, learn. We get the connection. We are setting that appointment, and then we are learning all about them. Because if you make them feel like, hey, we're all about you. We want to know you. What do you want? How are we here to help you? You're you're setting that with them. So I mean that helps motivate them a little more whenever they know you're not just here to do a sales pitch. You're here to actually help.
Yeah, I love that. Eric, let me go to you. What's your mindset when you get a text message that says a text notification says there's a live Movoto consumer on the phone? What goes through your mind? What's your thoughts?
Honestly, I get excited. I'm a very competitive person, and I know that if I'm not jumping on that text, that somebody else is getting it, and that's an opportunity lost for me if I don't get it. Um, I enjoy talking to people on the phone. I call it getting a win. If I get on the phone with them and I get that appointment, that's a win for me. That's the first thing. Once I get that first win under my belt, that's fantastic. Now it's time to go meet these people in person. And now here's your second chance to get a win. Meet them, make them feel comfortable, learn about what they're really needing, and continuing that relationship. So
Yeah.
no matter where I'm at, that phone, I've got a special text tone for when those come through, so I know it's go time once I hear that sound.
All right.
Got his
Good.
fight song coming in.
I love the thought of getting wins, right? Like I meet with my team once a week and I always ask them, all right, share a win with me. And sometimes they struggle coming up with one to share. But that is a win, right? Getting the opportunity to build a new relationship in real estate is what we do. Um, Taylor, how about you? What's your thought process? What's your goal on that initial call?
We all kind of get excited. And like he said, we're all competitive. So we're trying to get, that live connection as fast as we can and just get on the phone call with the consumer, the person that's wanting to purchase, and just really being available for whenever that they want to see the property. So just waking up, getting ready for the day, and just expecting a phone call to come through, connecting with somebody, and getting in front of them and building that relationship and just showing them your value, and just really having relationships. So we get excited.
Now, how do you we know the best approach is not to ask a bunch of questions on the initial call. I mean, you're going to have the opportunity when you get face to face to do it. You're going to have an opportunity when you call them back to confirm that Friday at 2 o'clock works to ask another question or two. But how do you as agents, it's like almost in our DNA, right? We want to ask lots of questions. How do you control yourself from not doing that on that initial call? Any one of you?
Honestly, for me, my main goal is setting the appointment. That's what I want to do. Kind of my mindset, and this is just my mindset, is they've made the efforts to look at a few homes, find the one they like. They made the connection to Movoto. You guys ask them a few questions. So getting connected to an agent, in my mind, to the consumer, okay, this means I'm about to go look at a home. So introduce myself to them. Some people's mindset is, don't say, hey, how are you doing? Born and raised in Alabama, it just kind of comes naturally. It's almost impossible for me not to say that. And a lot of times, their answer to that question can tell you a lot about them, and that can kind of tell you what kind of mindset or how to approach, them as a buyer. So really my mindset is to, hey, how are you doing? I hope you've had a great day. Reintroduce myself, let them know I am a local Movoto partner. Um, let them know, hey, I've got, 1-2 Anywhere Street. So you want to take a look at that one. Is today or tomorrow better for you? Fantastic. What day works? That's awesome. I'll get that scheduled for us. When we get off the phone, I'm going to send you my contact information, and I'll call you back in a few minutes when I get that appointment set. So they're expecting a call back. They know who the call's coming from. That's very easy to set up that second introduction. And then once we get to the house, for me, that's when I do a little bit more learning. That way they know I am a real person. I'm not
Yeah.
just somebody asking them a bunch of questions. I have a notebook with me so they can see I'm taking notes. They see I'm paying attention. And usually everybody knows home showings go pretty quick, especially the first one. They kind of want to get that first one out of the way under their belt and then take a few more minutes in person to learn a little bit more about what they're looking for and what's going to best suit them.
Awesome. Awesome. Taylor, how about you? How do you resist, not asking them 20 questions on that initial call?
That's very hard for me. And I came from the healthcare field, so I do not have a sales background before I jumped into real estate. So by nature, I always want to ask so many questions and just learn about people. And truthfully, that got me in a pickle one good time, and somebody wanted to stay on the phone with me for, I honestly think it was 45 minutes, just talking to me about their whole life story. And while I did love it, it just taught me very fast, like, you cannot do that. I just need to worry about setting the appointment. And then when I get in front of the person, we can be best friends. So yeah, just really getting myself in a pickle one good time taught me very fast. Less is more on that first phone call. Just worry about getting the appointment set and then go from there.
Got it. Brent, yourself, you take calls too. What do you do? Or do you ask a bunch of questions?
No, I don't ask them a bunch of questions. For me, I mean, it really is that, I set the tone up front, getting that appointment going, knowing that, they've already been on the phone for a few minutes. Like, hey, look, I'm only going to take up a couple more minutes of your time. So I know you're wanting to set appointment on 123 Main Street. I've got availability, Thursday or Friday, a couple of time frames that work good for you, and, go from there. I am the broker and owner of our group, so I'm inundated a lot of times with a lot of stuff going on. So if I can keep it to a 2-minute phone call, that is perfectly fine with me. And then, of course, setting that appointment for the next phone call and giving them a call back within the next 15 to 20 minutes once it's confirmed, and we go from there.
Got it. All right. So we've set the appointment. Let's say it's a couple days out. One of the things we've been teaching agents is to email and text them every day between when you set that appointment and when the appointment actually is. And the idea is to get them to engage and start to build a relationship, right? So you send them an email. It might be, here's some additional information on the property or on the neighborhood. And then you send a text that ends in a question. Hey, Eric, I sent you an email. Did you get it? And what I want is them just to respond, right? Yes, I got it, but I haven't looked at it. I'll look, or yeah, I got it. Thank you. Right. That happens 2 or 3 days without them even knowing it. There's a relationship starting to be created. What do you guys do to build that relationship as quickly as possible once you set an appointment? Whoever wants to take it can jump in.
Eric.
The first thing I do, I'm lucky enough. We have a mobile business card that's available. So I text that to them immediately. I put them in my phone, send them that mobile business card, follow up. Hey, just want to make sure you got my mobile business card. From there, you can actually link to my website and continue looking at homes if you would like to. And then the next day, follow up. Hey, we're still meeting at 5 o'clock on Friday. Did you see anything else on my website that you want to take a look at while we're out? Sometimes they do find a few more things. But I think a lot of times they're kind of focused on that one, and they want to kind of get that first meeting out of the way.
Got it. I love it. I love it. Taylor, you were going to add something too.
Oh, I was talking. Eric does video text messages, and he's very good at those. I was going to see
Yeah.
if he was going to mention that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I will send. I'll just send a quick video text message, just introducing myself to them. Just again, I think a lot of times with technology these days, people forget that there is another person on the end of the line. With AI, especially, people get texts thrown at them all the time. I
Yeah.
just like to remind them that I am a person. One, it reminds them of that. Two, it lets them know who they're meeting at the home. Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah.
You're
So,
welcome.
and I assume, Eric, I assume that's just like, hey, this is Chris. I'm the agent you just talked to. Want to put a face with a name. Look forward to meeting you. Just something
It
quick
is.
and
It's pretty quick. If I'm in my car, I've got my phone mount there. If I'm at the office, I got a tripod, and I'm just sending a quick text.
awesome. Awesome. Um, Brent, what else do you or do you teach the team to do to build that relationship? Either obviously we know once you get face to face, you have an opportunity to do that, but between the time the appointment's set and the time that the appointment happens, is there anything else that you guys do?
If there's a couple of days in between, was especially with like the coming soon stuff and things like that, it could be 4 to 5 days, if not, 14 days before you get that, you've got a really wide opportunity to lose the client. Or the consumer. They're not yet your client, but they are a consumer, so they're still looking. What I try to do is I try to invite them to the office, invite them to the local coffee shop or something like that, so that I can say, hey, while we're in that time frame, you know I'm going to follow up with, I'm going to set this appointment up. I do confirm it through our calendar, so I send them like, hey, did you get my Google Calendar invite or whatnot, so that they can confirm the appointment. So it's locked in, gives the opportunity for the yes or no. But then if we've got that time frame, try to get in front of them some way, shape, or form, whether it be another house that matches that criteria, just in case. Either, if we have that secondary conversation of, hey, if you've got to have that conversation about the financials, let's meet at the lender's office, our office, the coffee shop, some way, shape, or form to get in front of them, just to shake hands, introduce yourself, and just have that personable conversation versus being strictly business up front.
Yeah. All right. So I got a follow-up question because I occasionally, again, haven't heard this from anyone on this webinar, but I will get some of our agents ask, well, but Chris, what if they don't qualify? Chris, what if they're just shoppers? Chris, what if? How do you guys, mentally and combat that, that what if versus just going to build a relationship?
There's a 3 to 8% conversion rate. So you take 100 people that you're going to meet, you're really going to convert 3 to 8 of them. But you want to get in front of 20 to 40 of them, because that is going to set your standard for locking it in. We do business plans, yearly business plans, and then we go over them every quarter. But it's broken down to how many contacts you're going to need to get how many listings, to get how many purchases, to all throughout, and you're going to have like 28,000 conversations. Well, you can't have 28,000 conversations if you're only going to get in front of 3 to 8 people a month, or 3 to 8 people every 2 to 3 months. So making sure that you do get in front of them. Case in point, there's been multiple people that I wasn't able to close them. They couldn't get pre-qualified, young first-time home buyers that just they couldn't do it. They were deep in credit card debt, the young and dumb things. But they gave me 5 referrals over the course of a year and a half that made me $50,000-$60,000, and then they ended up buying later on. So building that relationship and having that rapport with them of, hey, I'm a real person, I'm here to help you no matter what. Even if we have a loss on that, we still won 5 times over that didn't have any referrals attached to it. So every lead doesn't end with a deal, but every deal starts with a lead, no matter what shape or form they come in.
Yeah. I love that. It's almost like it's just the idea of treating every introduction as an opportunity, and you don't
Yeah.
know where it could lead or And I always say you don't know who they're related to or who they live next to or who they work with, that even if they aren't a buyer or seller right now, they probably know when it is. And if you build a relationship with them, then that's more opportunities for you.
That 6 degrees of separation is completely true, especially in Alabama. I mean, there are so many people that know and know and know and know. Everybody knows a realtor, but a lot of people are so close to them that they don't want to work with them because they don't want to ruin the friendships. So that's our opportunity to be able to build off of that. But then you're building from there. So making sure that you're just treating them with the respect of, we know you're not in this situation just yet, but let's see what we can do. You're going to work, you're going to close more deals if you're actually nurturing them versus trying to close something in 30 days.
Yeah. And by the way, anyone that has any questions, feel free to put them in chat. We'll talk about them. These guys and Taylor would be happy to answer any of those. I got it. My eyes keep going to Kim. It looks like your cat may have a question. Did your cat want to ask anything? She is studying the screen.
He's
Um,
very interested in everything that you do. This is
awesome.
Sherbert.
Oh, that's
Sherbert.
funny.
All right, it says there is a question. It says, or maybe it's a comment. Let's see. I get many leads that don't actually want to see the place. They just want information, or they can't see it due to the or they can't see it due to the property needing, proof of funds, or they can't or won't provide it, or they never respond to any community. So look at there's Mary, everything you said in that comment that happens, right? And going back to what Brent said, out of 100 people, if we close 8 of them, we're at the top of the leaderboard. Maybe 9 or 10 would put you at the top, but you're in the top, the top 10 for sure. So understand that we won't be able to, but here's the thing, and this is what we were just talking about. And I think you guys know this. I've had my license since 1983. All right, longer than some of you, probably many of you have been alive. I can't tell you how many times someone surprised me with referrals or what they were able to buy or that they were a seller, or you just never know. I was in the emergency room and the emergency room doctor ended up sending me 3 referrals, and then 6 years in a row rented my ski condo because I was, having an emergency. But you meet someone, you just never know, right? We never know where we meet them. So the main thing we want to focus on is just getting face to face with these people, because you don't know what you're going to uncover or what opportunities you are. All right, team, what's the conversation you have, and how do you have the conversation? Because we still get asked this question by agents, is on getting a buyer representation or a buyer broker agreement signed. How do you guys do that? What's your process? I'll let any of you take.
As far as myself, I'm pretty direct. Obviously, Bavoda's going to send out an agreement with them, and that's that's the conversation I have after the appointment's confirmed. I just tell them, hey, I got the appointment confirmed for us. You should have gotten an email from Mavodo. It's a it's a touring agreement. I just let them know that, hey, that lets me show you the property as a licensed agent. If you'll go ahead and sign that for me, that'll come straight back to me. Nothing else you have to do on your end. Usually while I'm talking to them, they're going through their email and they say, oh, okay, I got it. And they sign it and send it to me. I really haven't experienced a lot of pushback with that. Luckily, fortunate for that not to happen. But I also keep hard copies in my briefcase. If we get there, or, sometimes people will set an appointment and you won't hear back from them until the appointment. You show up and they show up and, hey, thanks for meeting me here. I've got an agreement we've got to sign. It just allows me to show you the property, and they'll sign it. So I've had pretty good success, and I'm just kind of direct with it. There's no reason to dance around it. It is what it is. It's part of our industry now. So I just here you go. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, and I think
piggybacking
a
on
lot
that.
of it. I think a lot of it too is how we have that conversation, right? The more comfortable and confident we are, the less resistance they're going to have. Taylor, how about you? What's your process and what's the conversation like?
Like Eric said, I'm pretty direct as well, and I have not had any pushback with getting a touring agreement signed. And I kind of just tell people I judge it based off their personality. But I just tell them, hey, it also gives you a chance to see if you like me, but I'm not worried about you liking me. So after the touring agreement is up, we'll enter into our buyer agency agreement. That way, that allows me to fully represent you. But I haven't had very much pushback. I'm just honest with people, and people really appreciate transparency. And so I just kind of explained to them why we have to have it. And I have not had anybody, I may have had one person ask me a couple of questions, but that was it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Got it. Brent, was there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, we have the Movoto showing agreement, and we also have an EXiT Realty Crossroads showing agreement. And we just let the client know, like, hey, this is under no financial obligation. What we're going to do is we're going to tour a couple of homes together. You've got to get to know me. I've got to get to know you. We may or may not be a good fit. You might be a better fit with one of my agents, and you might not be a good fit for me. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show you this property. I legally have to have this shown, or to show this for you. But after this, we do have to talk about buyer agency agreement, full transparency, compensations, this, that, and the other. 99% of the time, the seller is going to be paying the compensation. So I'm free of your service until we get to the closing table. But I set that standard whenever we get going. And excuse me. But letting them know, like, if we're going to have more hard conversations, yes, we are going to have a buyer's agency agreement in place so that I can fully disclose everything with the property and follow the proper guidelines. But here's how we approach this. We're going to ask the seller to pay for this fee, yada, yada, yada. And then we kind of go into it. But we don't get a lot of kickback about that. I mean, I think I've had to help Taylor out one time, like she said, with somebody just doing a touring agreement, but he didn't understand. It's just like, hey, we're just following our guidelines, just like everybody else has got to sign stuff going into the doctor's office. We just got to have it signed for our protection and yours. But we make sure that we say this is for for their protection as well as ours, making it a priority on their side, not ours.
All right. All right. So I think that's great. And I think the agents that struggle with this probably make it a bigger deal than it needs to be and aren't as just direct and straightforward as they could be. Hey, I want to do something we haven't done before. Now, many of you on the webinar have heard a call recording, right? Call recordings are available to all the teams. You can use them for training. Brent, do you guys utilize any of the call recordings of your team?
I do listen to a lot of our call recordings, and then I'll have one-on-one conversations with the agents, how they went, what they could perform a little bit better. I listen to mine a lot. I used to do that a lot, especially whenever we were on a flex team, to try to figure out, I get bad on enunciating, so trying to make sure that I'm speaking not in tongues. But going over everything with them to make sure, like, hey, you drug this out, or just get to the points, not the roundabout way.
Yeah. So one of the things that we always recommend is to share listen to the call recordings as a group, as a team, so everyone benefits from them. So I want to do that right now. So I want to share a call recording, and Taylor's laughing because I told her ahead of time that it was going to be hers. So all right, so Taylor, we got I don't know how many people on here, but we're gonna get some feedback.
all right, let's do it.
Hey, Travis, thanks for holding.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I got Taylor on with us. She's local and experienced in Trustville, so you're in good hands. I'll leave you guys to it. Go ahead.
Yes, pretty well.
Thank you. Hey, Travis, how are you?
Doing well, Taylor, yourself?
I am good. So like you said, my name is Taylor DeGeorge, and I am with EXiT Realty Crossroads, and we partner with Movoto. I am very familiar with the Trustful area, and I saw that you are looking at a particular house. Are you wanting to set up a touring or a showing for that house?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, perfect. What day works better for you? Would you like to see it today or tomorrow?
I like today because it's looking good, and I'm looking at it as it goes by a virtual, and I like the way it looks. So today, if I, it was
Okay.
after 5, good for you, or is that's good?
Yeah, after 5 could work. So what I will do is as soon as we get off the phone, I will schedule a showing for today after 5. You want to do about 5:30?
Yes, 5:30 be perfect.
Okay, and the second that they confirm it, I will give you a call from my personal number. That way you have it, in case you need me for any reason before 5:30 today. Does that sound good?
Is it area code 205?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. No, because when he called me last, it was area code 757. I thought it was a bogus call when he called me.
Oh, gotcha. No, my phone number is 205.
Gotcha. That's all. Okay. I got you. Cause I try not to pick them up because, I mean, unless I don't know you, I don't pick up. That's why.
Hey, I completely understand. If real estate was not my job, I'd be the same way.
Exactly. So that's why I said 205. I got you. I'll pick up on the 205.
Okay, sounds great. Well, you will hear from me very soon, okay?
All right. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you much, Taylor.
All right,
What's your last?
yes, sir.
Taylor? The last name?
My last name, DeGeorge.
Is George. Got you. Just like want to make sure I'm talking to the right Taylor all the time.
Yes, you are. I look forward to working with you.
All right. Thank you much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm not going to ask Taylor what she thought, but anyone else? You can come off mute or put it in chat. What do you think of that call?
Hey, I can take it.
I mean, I'll go first. I thought it was good. You were friendly. You could tell you had a big smile on your face. You had good energy. You gave him a choice. You didn't say well, you did say which day, but then you corrected very quickly and gave him two choices. The reason we tell everyone to do that, if you ask the consumer, the consumer doesn't know your schedule, right? So if you say which day would you like to see it, and they say a day that you planned on taking off, then that kind of messes things up, right? So just give them a choice. Hey, would you like to see it this day or that day? Obviously, 2 days that you know you can do it, and then give them, when they pick a day, then give them 2 times to choose from, 2 times that you know you're available, that you can do it. The What
Oh, y'all
else?
are being nice.
Uh, um, let me share, let me go back and share something real quick. Many of you have seen this. We use a call scorecard, uh, and this is what it looks like. Um, did the agent introduce themselves? Yes. Did the agent mention they were a local Movoto agent? She did. Did she sound enthusiastic and upbeat? Yes. Did they immediately offer, 2 dates and times to tour the home? She did. Did the agent inquire what motivated the consumer to tour that home? That was probably the only thing that you didn't do. I think going down this list, you got 9 out of 10. And the only reason we suggest is finding out, hey, what caught your eye about this home, or what's exciting to you about this one, is just in case when she calls, if that agent or seller says, hey, we accepted an offer, then at least she knows that she can look for some other homes like that. So when she calls the consumer back, she can give them sort of the good news, bad news script, right? Hey, I got bad news. The home we were going to see at 5:30 just went under contract. Just missed it. We can still see it for a backup offer, but I also found 2 other homes that are similar based on what you told me, and we can see those also if you'd like, right? So you want to be prepared for any of those type of situations. Here's what I think you did, Taylor, that was really good that you didn't do. Right? You didn't pull up the property while you had the consumer on the phone. You didn't try to get smart about it. You didn't ask them a bunch of questions like you're going to meet them in that case like 3 hours later or whatever it is, and you're going to have plenty of opportunity to ask all the questions. Um, you didn't say, okay, let me see if that'll work and then I'll call you back. You said, hey, meet at 5:30 and then I'll call you back to confirm. So you set a hard appointment. Um, so
Thanks.
that was great. So yeah, Deborah, you asked where you can get the scorecard. It's shared above. Did that come through when you shared that, Jenna, in chat? Looks like just a blank thing that I'm looking at. But anyways, yeah, the call scorecard, we will make sure everyone has it. Everyone will get a copy of this and a recording of this. We have like 3 or 4 minutes left. Before I go into any other questions, I just want to make sure I take the time to thank all of you. Taylor, thanks for being vulnerable and letting us do that call. Eric,
Thank y'all.
And Brent, thank you guys for sharing your thoughts. We love partnering with you and appreciate you willing to jump on here for all of our partners' benefit. So thank you for doing that.
As always,
Anyone
we
else?
appreciate it as well.
Sure. And by the way, everyone knows they're in Alabama, because it was mentioned several times, but they're in Birmingham, Alabama. So if you have any referrals for Birmingham, Alabama, you now know who to send them to. All right. Any other questions that anyone has?
Let's see. Somebody had asked in the chat if I would role play how I present the touring agreement.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I'm so bad at role playing, but I typically do that in the second phone call, confirming the showing. And I just tell them pretty much, I try to make it as simple as I can and just let them know, hey, you should be receiving an email from Avoto. It's a form that you will review over, and it just allows me to show you the property. You're not obligated to, compensate me for doing that. It lasts 7 days. And then after that, we'll talk about next steps if we mesh well together. So just, being as transparent as you can. And I think one thing that I have learned from Brent is just making your own spin on how you present things. And people have really seemed to take to that.
Yeah. So just so everyone knows, and we've gone over this multiple times. Thank you, Taylor. We've gone over this multiple times. We send an email to every consumer after we introduce them to you, giving them your contact information. We also talk to them about why it's important to be represented by an agent, and why who represents them is important, that we only introduce them to the best. In that email is a link that takes them to a turn agreement. Now, 70% of the consumers never open the emails, right? Just like 70% of you never open the emails we send. Of the ones that do open it, a lot of them don't click on it to see a touring agreement. So like this team, if you want to leverage those, they're there for you to leverage. You don't have to. You can use whatever process you're comfortable with. You may want to just meet them at the property, explain the process, and introduce your 1 day or 3 day or 6 month agreement, whatever your team teaches you to do. But follow what your team and your brokerage advises. If you want to use the touring agreement, it is there. And yes, it's generic, and it does not replace a buyer broker agreement or a buyer representation agreement. So if you have other questions, you can email us at support@movoto.com or reach out to myself. Again, we're out of time. Oh, we got 1 minute. I love ending on time because I always promise everyone we will do that. Thank you again to our panelists. Thank you everyone for taking the time out of your day. These 45-minute webinars, by the way, we changed them. They were 40 minutes, but we've made them 45 minutes because that last 5 minutes is necessary. These are important, and we want you and your team to join us each month so that you guys can keep getting good information so that we can help everyone achieve the best possible results. Thank you. Have a great and productive rest of the week.
Thank you.
Y'all.
Thank you.